But what do you make of these corroborated experiences and sightings of these like flying saucers, or if you want the stuff that the Harvard psychiatrist John Mack talked about with these abduction experiences, people being sucked up into spaceships and having their eggs and sperm extracted, and talking about they're from the future and they look like children with like little bodies, big heads and eyes. Like it's obviously like something that he's interviewed hundreds of people and they all explain the same exact thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, these are things that happen within consciousness. Okay, there is no physical reality. We only have the information that we're fed in the data stream. That is our reality. Well, I shouldn't say that. Our interpretation of that is our reality. Now, there are, if you want to, again, put a spaceship someplace or subduct into a spaceship and have somebody operating on you, that's just data in a data stream. Now, you feed that data stream yourself. Remember, I said there's 3 ways you get data. You get data from the large kind of systems, you get data from other IUSCs, and you get data from yourself. You create it. And most of your experience is a hodgepodge of all 3 of those. So, that experience of being beamed up and then had something done to you, that's a standard fear test kind of experience. The system does a lot of fear testing to see what you're ready for next. What can it put into your data stream that will help you grow up? What level are you? Where are you? And what kind of things are going to help you grow up rather than frighten you and make you go backwards? So they do some fear testing, and that's one of the fear tests. It's kind of a standard test, so a lot of people get that. And if they get a very fearful approach to it, oh no, who are these people? What are they doing? I feel totally helpless. I'm out of control. Oh, they're going to do this and that to me. If you get that, then your own fear will start to add to that story. And it'll get worse and it'll get horrible and they'll do worse things to you. You'll start to add to the story. And that is one fear test, and a lot of people get fear tests. There's a lot of other fear tests that people get. People who start going out of body, often they'll run into monsters. They get out of body for the first time and they meet some kind of monster with big bloody teeth or something, and they run and jump back in their body and it's gone. And now they're upset with themselves because they've been wanting to get out of body for years and they finally do, and they run from it. Those kinds of tests, we get those while we're dreaming. We get those can just happen to us. We get a data stream. We may be sitting on the back porch at 2:00 in the afternoon, perfectly sober, and get that in our data stream. And there may be 5 people with us that all get the same thing in their data stream. So everybody sees the flying saucer. It just depends. The system will do that to challenge us, to see at what level we are. And if we feed it with our own fear, then it turns out to be a lot worse than it would be if we didn't. So that's the problem. It's not going to be that the system gives us something horrible. It doesn't. It gives us something that is more benign than that. So I can tell you, I've had similar experiences to that too. I've had my sessions with the flying saucers and the beamed up and interacting with beings.
You had experiences like that of being abducted?
Yes, I've had experiences like that.
In your sleep or like fully conscious?
Well, in my awareness, I was fully conscious. But in actuality, I was just getting a different data stream. And I dealt with that. I dealt with it without a lot of fear. And it turned out okay. But it was the same sort of thing that I hear when others talk about it. And I kind of thought, well, that's just not a good thing, but a bad thing. It's something I'll watch out for, and I let it go, and it didn't happen anymore. It was that kind of a thing.
Happened once?
Probably a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. But what happens when they give you these tests, they'll give it to you, and then they'll modify it and give you it again. If you do well, they'll give you another one, see if you do well. And if you pass 2 or 3 of them, then it wasn't just lucky guess, it was you've already passed that point, so then you don't get them anymore. And as I went back to it and inspected it, those experiences, I think it was just the larger conscious system trying to give an assessment of who I was and how I would interact and how much fear I had in
How
me.
old were you when this happened? How old were you when this alien abduction happened?
I wouldn't really call it an alien abduction.
You're calling it a data stream test or something like this, but it's for normal for somebody who isn't aware of this. They would call it an alien
exactly.
abduction.
People again make up a story to fit the experience.
Sure.
So it's the alien abduction story that fits the experience. But I had an experience, and it also was put in the context of some other beings in kind of a spaceship. I mean, that was the story that was given to me. And I was like teleported there, if you will.
What were you doing prior?
Ended up there. I'm trying to think about how old I was. I was probably late 20s, early 30s for me.
Wow.
That happened. But see, I had been working already for some years with Bob Monroe, so I had a little more savvy with mind and consciousness and that kind of stuff than the average person was. So I looked at it not from a personal, this is scary viewpoint, but from this is an interesting trip. This is an interesting reality.
What were you doing leading up to when that happened? Do you remember?
I think, what was I doing? What, the moments before?
Yes.
I was probably just lying in a bed, not sleeping, being awake with my mind kind of drifting. I hadn't gone to sleep yet, but I wasn't, I was in a twilight state. I guess they call that. It's kind of in a twilight state. And then suddenly all these things started to happen from this twilight state. So I hadn't gone to sleep yet, but it wasn't a dream. It was something else. It was just an experience that I got. Experience is information. Data defines the experience. So that happened. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. I experienced it. I let it go, but I had a lot of experience by that time. I'd been going out to Monroe for some years.
Yeah.
And strange experiences were almost every day for me. I could put it into a perspective. If you just got that out of nowhere, it would be probably scarier and more of a problem. But
sure.
I had lots of experiences that were unexplainable. So another unexplainable experience was not that big a deal.
How would you describe the beings that you saw?
They were not like us, very different. Weren't human. The beings that I saw, the beings that did that weren't human.
Were they hominid looking, upright, 2 legs?
Mostly hominid looking, yes. But very different. And again, that's the picture I paint. I get the data and I have to put the face on it. I have to I have to make the story to describe it. So now if I read a lot of books about, grays and people with big eyes and that sort of thing, that's probably that'd be the story I'd put on it.
Right.
But I didn't have that stuff then. It wasn't that popular. So I made up my own pictures, and they were just very strange. They weren't humans.
Did they communicate? Was there any communication?
Yes, there was some communication. I talked with them. They talked with me. But the feeling that I got during that communication was sort of like the feeling you get when the guy at the used car store tells you only a little old lady, owned that car and she only drove it on Sundays. You get
really?
You get that feeling that they were telling you things, but that you really couldn't believe it or take it too seriously.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of off, and you had this idea that there was something else going on, besides what you were experiencing. There was another component to it. So you had that sense of the experience. So you weren't quite sure yes, they were saying things, but you weren't quite sure that there was another, what do you call it, another agenda. There was some other agenda going on.
You smelled bullshit.
Yeah, you smelled something. It's not all what you see. What you see is just what you see. There's other stuff going on that you don't know about. So you definitely got that as a strong opinion. But that was part of the stuff that was going to check your fear level.